first two were both imaginary. Children built imaginary landscapes and imaginary cities. This time we've given them an actual contour map and they've had to develop a real city. They've had to redevelop parts of Craigmillar and think about how they want the South East Wedge to look, what they want to be on it. The reason we do this is because we believe that children have got a valuable contribution to make to the development of safe and happy and healthy communities. We also believe that they've got a right to be consulted about the kind of environments that they want to live in and grow up in. And also we are always amazed at how surprised the adults are at how much children have achieved over the course of the project. And I think that begins to change adults' views about children's potential and what can actually be achieved with children. Okay, welcome to Craigmillar Children's EcoCity project. You're all here this week to build your ideal Craigmillar of the future. Now Wimpy, Antonio actually works for Wimpy, he's here. Wimpy have been very, very kind and said that in order to make you feel like proper builders and planners, they've got a helmet for each of you, which you're allowed to keep.
So there's the south, there's the east, and this here is the southeast wedge. It's a wedge shape going into Edinburgh, okay? And that's why it's called the southeast wedge. So there's Castlebrae School, and there's the castle. Yeah, I'm Howard, I'm an architect, and I work with ecological design. Well, the purpose of the project is multifold. First of all, obviously, it's an educational tool for the children where they bring everything together in terms of trying to design a city and also trying to do it with making as minimum an impact on the environment as possible. There's an educational aspect to it, but also in this particular case in Craigmillar, it's a way of engaging in dialogue with what's actually going to happen here, the people who are planning this for the future. And also it's a catalyst for the local people to have a say.
Haley, how do you spell Haley?
First of all, we've been getting the kids to know each other in groups, and that was the most important thing because they're all from different primary schools. And then we like to get them to take ownership of the model because this is the first time we've actually done it with a real location. Previously the kids have invented their location. So it was very important for them to actually get stuck in and do something very active as early as possible in the day. So we started out with a white model and we've ended up painting it green. It's a pretty puce green, so we hope we'll improve on that with some much more interesting colours for interesting reasons as the week goes on. We've left some of the bits in white there. Now, the idea is they get the choice to deal with the new buildings and the old buildings, and if they wish to start messing about with what's there already, knocking things down, improving whatever, then they get the option to do that. But we're going to leave it white unless they decide they want to deal with it, and then it'll start to look coloured.
My name is Drew Mackey. I'm really here to look after the urban design aspects of this. Howard and I form a kind of double act where he does the ecological design and I'm mainly involved with the urban design, the actual place-making parts of the exercise. Right, the next bit you've got to do is to decide what's going to go into the EcoCity, what sort of buildings you're going to have, etc. Now, each of the schools has already had a session where you decided all the good things and all the bad things and all the good ideas for the city. And what we want to do, we've brought all these together into these sheets from all the schools, and we'd like each group to discuss those, all right? And add any extra ones that you don't think are there.
I think the importantest thing is the flowers to make the place look nice.
It smells, land of living, water pollution, water maintenance.
So is there any you want to add to this?
That's not fair, they have
No?
I don't think so.
So
They take it to a big hole in the ground and bury it. But
No, it's a bad thing.
I think we should recycle. Bucket men.
The background to the EcoCity model is a collection of adults who each have come from different places. Task Agency have come from an interest in involving children in decision making in their lives, about listening to their opinions. Our partners in that, Howard and Drew, are architects and urban designers who have an interest in helping communities generally influence what happens to them. So their expertise and our expertise together have created a way of re-looking at urban renewal or planning to help people take part in something that affects their everyday lives, so that when people like us move away, they actually feel a sense of ownership and involvement in what's happening to their community.
So we need to think about how we're actually going to work with each other this week so we don't have
any problems or as few problems as possible. So what we need to do is we need to think up some ground rules for this week.
The children help to decide the ground rules for this week. No fighting, no swearing, no shouting out, no farting indoors, no smoking.
The concerns that the children have had at the beginning of the week were very much the kind of concerns that I think adults would have who live here about safety, about places to play, about pollution, about crime, about drugs. These are the issues that the children of themselves brought.
I think the biggest problem for the children in Craigmillar is getting bullied.
The bad things in Niddrie are that people vandalise all the walls and push the pillars off the top of them and make a mess of the streets and all that. Everywhere you see there's graffiti on the wall, so it spoils it. Feels like no staying in there, because the stairs in there are all graffiti and they put their rubbish at the back passage and it smells. My granny stays in Gilmerton, and like when I go to my granny's at the weekend, you get some people saying that. So there's a Craigmillar person, she must be very poor in that, because I think Craigmillar's a poor place, but it's not really. There's a lot of people that's got money down there and that, so. But it's all right. I wouldn't say it's nice or it's good, it's all right.
First I didn't like the noise and the pollution and then the vandalism and the drug dealing and all that. And the smoking is horrible.
The bad things about living where I am is the exhaust fumes and chimneys which cause pollution, and people flinging rubbish into the ponds and that. Down where I stayed, they said that they would build a park for us, and that was 3 years ago and they've still not built it. So that's another boring thing. And then I stay across the road for a pub, and then you get all the fights at the pub and that. And then there's motorbikes going up and down the hills and that, so you didn't really get much sleep either.
Not so much cars. The fumes at the back, they come out and they mix with the clouds, and when it rains it kills plants and animals.
Stacey, what have you got?
Junkies and drug dealing, bad houses, crime, water pollution, no speeding and smelly tunnels.
I'd like to have more people in Craigmillar because there's a lot of empty houses. I'd like more people in my school and things.
I think Craigmillar should be safer and happier if all the junkies just went away.
Having cleaner stairs and better people and people who treat you nicer.
Like new houses need graffiti, they could make a material that could, like if it sprayed graffiti, it wouldn't go on it. It would just wash away easily.
I'd like electric cars which would stop polluting the air.
We could make wind power cars, like a wee wind thing that goes round and it just blows the cars. So no engines, and the car will be lighter. So they can turn off on a windy day, and then the wind would just blow them.